This video is on sketching the 6 trig parent functions using your unit circle chart. Namely, we're going to be using the quadrantal angle values that will help us graph the functions. Okay, the first function we're going to graph is the sine function. This is also called the sine wave. We're going to make it look like a wave, like in the ocean. And if you look on your unit chart, you have a lot of values for your sine theta. We're only going to use, for theta, we're only going to use our angles 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi, which you know is 0, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, and 360 degrees. That's your quadrantal angles. So if we plot this for sine, we're going to get at 0, it's 0, 0. At 90 degrees, it's 1. At pi, we're back down to 0. At 3 pi over 2, we're down at -1. And at 2 pi, we are back at 0. And we're going to make this look like a wave. Of course, we have other values. For example, we have pi over 4 and all that. But just to make it easy, if you know what the wave looks like, you don't have to plot every single point. We'll talk more about this in class. So I'm going to draw a wave. It shouldn't be pointy, it should be curvy. And I'm going to draw the wave like this. There's the point. Alright. And it continues on. But we're going between -2 pi over 2 and 2 pi. That's our domain. Now, when we're talking about -pi over 2, -pi over 2 means we are going counterclockwise. So this is coterminal really with 3 pi over 2. So we're going back down to -1 here, back to 0, up to 1. It's going to go into that, and back to 0. So we just go down, back up, and there. And so there is your sine wave. Next one is the cosine wave, which we're going to do the same way. And I forgot to tell you in the other one, our radius is 1. So when you cross multiply here, and if our radius is 1, here, our radius is 1. It's not doing it, so right here our radius is 1. So we're just graphing the cosine wave. Cosine wave. I have my table of values you should have on your chart, and I'm just going to do my quadrantal angles. So at 0 we're starting at 1, then we go to 0, go to -1, back to 0, and back to 1. And since this is a wave, we're just, for the negative ones, just go back down, goes to -1, back to 0, and back to 1. And then you connect it in a wavy pattern. And that is your characteristic curve for the cosine wave. Now for tangent, for the quadrantals down here, we basically just need to know the values of 0, undefined, 0, undefined, and 0. So at 0 we're at, I'm going to draw asymptotes where it's undefined. So it's undefined at 90 degrees and at 270 degrees. And I'm going to draw asymptotes here. So this is where x equals -3 pi over 2, x equals -pi over 2, And then we have pi over 2, an asymptote, dashed line, and at 3 pi over 2. Again, our domain we want to be between negative 2 pi and 2 pi. Our zeros are here, 0, 0, and 0. 0, 0. Again, we'll go over this more in class, but you know in asymptotes, our lines or our curves cannot cross the asymptotes. So the way it looks, the tangent looks like this. Again, there's more values in here on our chart that will yield these values in here. But if you just know the characteristic curve, you don't need to know all of those. You just need to know what tangent looks like. And so we keep continuing this. And since we're stopping at 2 pi, I'm only going to draw this portion. Alright? Now, for here, on the other side, I'm going to keep going. And since we're stopping at negative 2 pi, I'm only going to draw this portion. Notice the period for tangent is 2 pi. Is pi, I mean. That means every 180 degrees, it makes a complete wave. So if I'm going to go back, for cosine, the period is 2 pi. That means every 360 degrees it makes the same wave. And then it's going to repeat the same wave over and over again. Same with sine. Our period for cotan is the same as tangent. The period for cotangent is just pi. I'm going to draw my undefineds at 0, at pi, and at 2 pi. So I also have negative pi and negative 2 pi. My zeros are at negative 3 pi over 2, negative pi over 2, pi over 2, and 3 pi over 2. Now, the cotan goes the opposite way than tan, so it's going to look like this. Okay. Again, we'll talk more about these in class, but that's pretty easy. You need to know what cotangent looks like, and then you're going to have to know where it is undefined and where the zeros is. So all you need to know is this portion here, and know the characteristic wave, and you will get it. Okay, for cosecant, we need to notice that cosecant is really just 1 over sine, because cosecant is really what? R over y. So 1 over r over y equals y over r. And all we're going to do is first graph sine. So first thing we're going to do is graph sine, and we know that we have 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. So I'm going to graph the sine wave first. Go back to negative 1, 0, 1, and 0. I'm going to graph this. Now at my zeros, I'm going to draw asymptotes. So here's a 0 right here. Here's a 0. Here's a 0. And here's a 0. And here's a 0. So where I have my zeros, I'm going to draw asymptotes because 1 over 0 is what? Undefined. So we're going to draw our asymptotes here. And now all you're going to do is draw valleys and mountains. So here's a mountain. Here's a valley. Here's a mountain. And here's a valley. Now if you want, you could erase the sine wave that you drew earlier. And now you have your cosecant parent function. Same thing for secant. The first thing we're going to do is sketch or lightly sketch the cosine wave. We know that's the 1, 0, -1. Oops. This should go down a little further. Go down a little further. 0 and back to 1. Then just go back down. -1, 0, 1. From your chart, you can sketch it. Like that. Now, everywhere there's a 0, right there's a 0, there's a 0, that's where it crosses the x-axis. Those are your zeros. At this point, I'm going to draw my asymptotes. And from here, I'm going to draw my valleys and my mountains, or peaks and valleys. And since our domain, we're stopping at -π/2 and starting at -π/2 and going to π/2, we're going to stop and just draw half of it here. Okay, again, we'll be going over this more in class, but this is just a general view. You use your unit chart and you just graph the quadrantals. It's helpful to draw sine and cosine first before you draw the cofunctions.